You got Tyrese Gibson getting bent over a barrel with regard to child support. You have Steven Crowder. A lot of you aren't even familiar with Steven Crowder because you're only familiar with the black segment of YouTube as far as what it is that's being communicated with him. Steven Crowder is a very, very, very popular YouTuber and conservative pundit that recently was being recruited by the Daily Wire in order to move over there with Candace Owens and them, and then him and Candace Owens is getting into a back and forth and things like that. But more importantly, he makes a lot of money, and he's recently revealed that he's going through a divorce, and his wife is, or he's going through an ugly divorce, and his wife filed for divorce allegedly, right? So I just want to kind of break this down, right? Because when people come to me, or even not even come to me specifically, but when I see certain things happening across the internet and people having a conversation, shout out to Ash. What up, though? What's up, Azriel? When people tap into me, right, and they say the reasons why they're in a relationship or why they decide to get married, it makes me cringe. It makes me cringe. Absolutely. Um, it makes me cringe 100%. And the reason why it makes me cringe is because I think that people really don't understand what the dynamics of a relationship is. A relationship is a bond that you have to carry with someone, even through your uncomfortable conversations and uncomfortable situations, through thick and thin. You can't just absolve yourself of being able to have the conversation or continue through that or continue through that relationship, regardless of how you feel. And so it just completely removes the idea of love as far as what carries that relationship, regardless of what you think about the person that you next to on a regular basis. Think about it like this from this perspective, right? If you had to think about a relationship with your mother, or you had to think about a relationship with your brother, or you had to think about a relationship with your sister, or your best friend, or anybody that you're surrounding yourself with, that at one point or another you bonded through blood, you bonded through the fact that y'all was raised together, or you've known them for a long time, or you met them in high school, or whatever like that. Whatever it is that you're bonded through, that relationship sustains despite, right? Despite y'all getting into it with each other, despite y'all fighting, despite y'all falling out, despite how you feel about how they was raised, how your mother treated you when you was coming up, how your father rocked with you or whatever, people still seek out, right, having a relationship or having something in which they communicate with that person long term, regardless of whatever it is that they're bonded through. But when we start to have a conversation about relationships, when it comes to the person that you lay next to every day, the person that you have kids with, the person that you say that you love, the person that you have sex with, the person that you kiss on a regular basis, you don't have the same type of bond with them because you're emotionally connected instead of it being based off of something else that's much deeper or much greater than what it is that you felt about them. And so people use love as an excuse in order to make themselves feel better about whoever it is that they're talking about, but they truly don't understand what it takes in order to be in a marriage, a relationship, or to have kids with one another. And so, what I often say when I see people say that love is the reason why they with the person that they with, I cringe because I understand that everything is based off of something much deeper. And more importantly, I think that people should lean into the idea of looking at it from a business perspective. As a matter of fact, people get so uptight when I say look at relationships or look at the person that you sleep with from a business lens or a business perspective first, not saying that you can't grow to love them, not saying that you shouldn't love them, not saying that you're not going to love them or fall out of love with them at different points throughout your relationship. But when I say look at it from a business perspective first, people then start to cringe or they feel a certain type of way about it. And I don't understand that because when you break up or you have kids or you get a divorce, guess what the first thing that they do when they start to evaluate getting out of that relationship or marriage or bond that you have with that other person, despite the fact that you took the vows before God in front of witnesses and said, till death do us part, they start to look at it from a business perspective. they start to divide assets. They hire lawyers. They start to look at the cost that's going to be associated when you should or shouldn't pick up your kid, how much you going to owe them in child support, whether or not you deserve spousal support. I maintain this type of lifestyle, or this is the thing that you got me used to. So this is the type of thing that you're going to make. All of a sudden, love don't live here anymore, and then we have to start looking at it from a business perspective. So you look at it from a business perspective when it's time for y'all to divide assets and when you go in your separate way, but you don't look at it from a business perspective when you first start getting together. You're not even evaluating whether or not this person make enough money. Dudes are so dumb and they baked out of their mind because a chick gave them a little bit of box. So all of a sudden they start overlooking how much student loan debt that she got, or the fact that she got a basket weaving degree, or even the fact that you so focused on what she looked like that you can't even see whether or not this chick is going to be a good mother or not to the kids that you decide to lay down with and have with her. The wild thing to me is that you decide to have kids with a chick that you don't even know. That you decide to skeet in a chick that you get caught up in a one night stand. That's wild to me. It's absolutely wild to me. So when I say love, right, it doesn't mean that love isn't significant. It means that you need to lean into something that's much deeper than what you substantiate as the reason why you in that relationship in the first place in order to determine whether or not that's the person you want to be with long term. Because guess what? You can't put them kids back into her, right? You can't take back the vows that you made before God at the altar. The wildest thing to me, right? Let's mind this out for a minute because I got a couple minutes, right? I'm not going to be before you long. I just want to get my thoughts off. The wildest thing to me is we go by, as far as the court system here in the United States of America, regardless of what state you're in, they go by strict standards with related to how it is that how long you had to be with somebody in order to be labeled as common spouse or common law spouses. They go by how long or how much money you make in order to determine whether or not you have to pay a certain amount of child support. They go by how much she made and he made in order to determine whether or not you need to pay spousal support. They divide assets based off of how long y'all been in together. If the prenuptial agreement was signed under duress, it's up to the judge's discretion of whether or not they want to throw it out. You have to have that person, according to different attorneys that I talk to, live with that prenuptial agreement for at least a certain amount of time and signed in a certain environment in order for that prenuptial agreement to be valid so that you can maintain and keep half of the stuff or all of the stuff that you had before they came into the relationship. But I thought that verbal contracts, especially agreed to in front of witnesses, should also be binding agreements. So when you take those vows at the altar and you say till death do us part in sickness and in health, for better or for worse, none of that matters.